Okay, Johnson's, this is Kevin Dye with Dye Painting. Yeah, I know this house well. This house was owned from Sandy Pierce from Sierra Century. She was the previous owner. She actually had me come last year to give her a bid on the property. And then it was just, I told her we just don't have time to get to it because we were already, she contacted us in July or August of last year. So we were already booked for the rest of the year. And she never got on our books this year. So she obviously sold it. But this house is really a great house. Definitely needs some paint, but it's a really great house. So with that said, I'll kind of go through what we do. For us, pressure washing is key. It has to be. I mean, we have to have a very clean surface. So I'm going to start on this corner and go pressure wash everything. Make sure it's clean. Proper dry time is very important as well. Stuff like this right here is not a big deal. We pressure wash, then scrape. We actually really prep. So we seal this up. We seal all of these. We actually seal a product called Big Stretch caulking. So we seal every one of those up. It's very important because that's going to give you the longevity. That's a 10-year paint job. Just slapping some paint on it, that's nothing wrong with that either, but it's not going to give you the distance. So deck was replaced. My suggestion on this deck would be to go ahead, and this is a stained deck. It's just a solid stain. So my suggestion would be to restain it with a solid again. Pressure wash, obviously, clean it all out. Some of these steps, yeah. But this isn't the main entrance, so it's not that big of a deal. Up here, obviously the wood would be restained. This door, you could probably save yourself a little bit of money because it costs about $150 to do a door, and that door doesn't have any marks on it. So if white doesn't bother you, if you want it to match into the house, then I would suggest we paint it, but I'll kind of leave you that option, and it's not a big deal. So this here is obviously going to be stained to match the rest of the wood. That wood is already stained. I would suggest we do it again. I use the best Armstrong oil-based stains. I think it would come out rather nice actually if that's stained. Everything else is painted. This guy here, I would suggest refinishing, but on this deck it wouldn't really be worthwhile money-wise. I'd suggest we just take it all into a solid oil-based stain, which doesn't flake. Shouldn't have any flaking. It might wear off over the years, like what you see right here, but at the same time, this has been here a long time, so I'm sure that's actually not that big of a deal. So I'd suggest solid stain here. Transparent stain up top, repaint and prep so far everywhere else. Looks like you got somebody either something going on, possibly a woodpecker. Okay, back here, wood again, restained with a solid coat after it's pressure washed. You got some bat markings up there. There's some guano. Body painted. There's some great colors that this house could go to. I mean, amazing colors. You could make it look so nice for a cabin, blend in. Now when we do our trim, we caulk everything. Like we caulk these guys, we caulk this line, we caulk everything in this trim so that it is a solid entity. Not a whole lot on this building. That's the good thing. It's mostly roof. I remember telling Sandy, well, she goes, it's a big house to paint. And I got here and I said, well, it is expensive to paint, but this is not a whole lot of house. So it could easily be done within about a 4-day period so far, unless there's something I didn't see. Again, prep. I suggest we do not paint the stem wall. It is not painted now. If it is painted, as soon as it is, the party begins, and then you're going to have flaking over time. There's some of your roof issues right there. And I'll make sure to send over Rosselli's number with you with this bid. Under here, okay, here we have a situation where we have just underneath. This is not an area where we're probably going to be entertaining. I would suggest we leave that. It's perfectly fine up there. There's no reason to go and stain all that unless, of course, you want us to. You got to. If you want, I could just maybe stain that one board so that it blends in. But I'll just write it in as an a la carte underneath here. Most of the time up here, we do a lot of this if there's a big living area underneath, but if there's not, and it's just a storage area, which, you know, in the future, I would suggest maybe some kind of covering here, maybe a lattice or something, you know, and then this is a great place to have your wood out of the way so you have more room to park your cars, but that's a whole another ball game. But so anyway, through here, I'll give you a price to stain it. It wouldn't be a big deal, but I would, you know, my suggestion would be if you guys are on a budget, it's probably not something that you have to do. Now here, we sand these guys. We sand all the handrails. We will get in and clear and prep that belly band right there and fix big cracks like that guy. So this looks to me as if this was a solid stain. So if it's flaking, I want to see where. Solid stain, the only thing I would do different is I'd take it to a solid stain that's a little more modern, like a different brown, you know, to actually take it into a almost like a kind of a brown that's on the windows. Now this is the cool thing about this. You could really make this pop because we've got 3: color, stain, building, and this could be gone, just a beautiful stain color. And we could use a semi-solid stain, even like a red. There's not a bright red, but like a dark stain red. It's gorgeous. So again, prep on everything caulked in, all wood, pressure washed, restained. The stain on the wood will definitely be a big help because once that's done, you have a very long period of time. So, I mean, and the paint too. We use the Best Kelly-Moore, but you know, caulking in a bunch of this stuff is really important. All lights are removed, everything's moved away. This deck, a good pressure wash and a good coat of solid stain, oil-based stain, and I think that will go a long way. And then all this will be sanded. Now we could sand this to wood, so that's also an option as well. This could be sanded to wood. We'll bring in our big sanders and we'll sand this whole guy down, and we'll sand, you know, you could do something even to save you the cost as you sand all this down, and then you leave the steps with a solid stain. You just do the whole steps in a solid, and you sand this so you have this beautiful wood entryway right here too. And so that's what I remember Sandy and I were talking about too, but it had been a while. So that way you kind of have the contrast of the floor in there and the floor out here, and you could stain it and it would look a lot nicer and wear a lot nicer. But again, I'll write that up as a separate cost too, and just kind of let you guys look around and decide. I'm not pushing on either or, but when I see things like this, I think, man, this could be really nice if this was like wood. This was just a wood, and this wood can be saved. So far I've seen no wood on the house that needs to be replaced. So, you know, unless we run into something that's totally soft, we have seen nothing that needs replacing. So on that level, that is very good, and that's going to save you some money. The paint and the stain is definitely up our alley. It's what we do. And I would love to do something really cool with this house. I can already see some great colors on it. Just I don't really like the older kind of the cream color. There's a lot of great like dark khakis and colors that, you know, kind of go into the woods rather than stick out. But very cool. So hopefully this helps. Oh, all doors that we do are done with a semi-gloss. All paint is done with a low sheen, so it has enough of a sheen to keep water off of it. And then the doors we do with a semi, so they're a lot of traffic. You can clean them for years. And then of course everything on the door will be caulked in as well. So hopefully this helps, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.